Okay. Yeah, today I don't really feel like playing my rapid video. Um, we actually already got to 2000 elo, believe it or not. We were just 7 points away, but then chess.com decided now of all times to award me 7 points because one of my opponents got banned. So I was like, that's cool, but I don't feel like I really achieved 2000 until I play a game and get there. So we'll do that, but on a day when I feel more celebratory, I guess. Now I actually feel very, very sad for many, many things, but not actually in the present moment, but I was feeling super sad. Yeah, partially because of the world championship, partially because of other things. But yeah, it was kind of weird. So let's just talk actually. Let's just do a heart to heart and talk about our feelings, talk about our thoughts. Um Yeah, I mean, honestly, like yesterday, three things broke in my room, and I know it was a bad omen. My beads broke, like my necklace that I wear. Um, it like snapped on a chair and just like the beads like fell off the string. The light bulb broke, and I had to evac the room. And then the fan fell on my keyboard and broke one of the keys. So the sequence of events, I was like, something bad is gonna happen. I was like, I hope no one's gonna die. Nobody died as far as I know. But yeah, but I mean, but sad things happened. Um anyway, yeah, about the result. I mean, first like huge respect to both of them and everything. Like I don't mean any disrespect or criticism, but these are just my reflections and thoughts. And I mean tremendous tremendous respect. Like I love Dylan even more now. Like seriously, like I absolutely adore him, but I just felt the last game, I don't know. I mean, tremendous pressure and nerves, and I think his kind of fragile psychology broke down there. But in general, I feel like in life and in chess, like you can't be playing for a draw. And I kind of had this sense, like intuitively, like I know it sounds dumb, but I felt like he was gonna lose, like way before the end game, like basically when he started playing for a draw and trying to trade pieces and everything. I kind of had a feeling that he was gonna lose because it's just this weird thing that like the chess goddess Kaisa, like does not favor people who play for draws. It's kind of weird, but I think psychologically it makes sense because at any given moment, right? It's you just want to find the best move. It's kind of like the present is all you have on a chessboard, and in life, it's just the present moment. So you have to find ways to maximize what you have right now. And if you're kind of in a mentality that I'm just going to hold it or I'm just going to like stay equal, it's not making the most of your current situation. And in Chinese, there's a phrase, 逆水成舟,不进则退, which is riding a boat, being on a boat in upstream, right? Going upstream on a boat. If you do not go forward, you will go backwards. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life. You think you can stay the same, you think you can maintain a constancy, but actually, if you don't make any effort, you do not put in any work, then you're actually going backwards, right? If you do not work out, your muscle is not just going to stay there. You're actually going to become less fit. It's a constant, life is a constant struggle, it's a constant battle. If you do not put in work in a relationship, your relationship is most likely going to like not flourish at the very least. Um, a lot of things, right? And it's just a constant effort. So your attitude is super super important. And I think ultimately what showed in the match was Gukash was rewarded for his fighter mentality. And not to say Ding didn't fight because in some games like he fought spectacularly, like more than anybody could have expected, like tremendous fighting spirit. But you just felt like Gukash wanted to win more. Like he wanted to win, and I felt like Ding didn't want to lose. And that slight difference in attitude is actually super crucial because life in a lot of ways is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. if you think of things in terms like of like a almost negative framework, and you're always framing on like I want to minimize my losses or I'm trying to prevent against this future casualty, then more likely than not those casualties will actually occur. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how that happens. But like even recently in my life, like personally, like someone was like, okay, they were like it was kind of ironic. I don't know, should I say this? But they were kind of like, yeah, maybe in the future we're going to have this falling out and blah blah blah. And the funny thing is, it kind of happened. Like not in a huge way, but it was like something did happen. I was like, and I just thought that was kind of funny in a very unfunny way, obviously. But it was kind of it's kind of like life is actually will give you what you expect or what you kind of see. And in that sense, I guess the whole mental coaching or like the whole positive psychology thing is not just like pop fluff. It actually really served a purpose here. And that's why like you can just sense it on people's energies. Like some people like want to be champion and they want to have that glamour and glitz and they do it well. Like you see it in Carlson, you see it in Gukesh, honestly. Like you see them like it's almost like a fake it till you make it or kind of like a they court attention, they want to be the best, they want the popularity and the glamour and the luster of being a champion. But you see someone like Ding who is more like how do I say it? Like I said this in someone's chat, I was like, he's more bohemian than athlete. And honestly, it's not that true because he's more of an athlete than most of us will ever be. Champion for a reason. But at the same time, you see a side of him that's more sensitive, more vulnerable, and like too genuine almost for that kind of fakeness. It almost goes hand in hand with being I don't know. I don't know. It's like I would have to go into more like a personality analysis here to really explain what I mean, but you sense another side of him that's, you know, you almost feel like doesn't suit this role very well and then he couldn't like psychologically like he almost like felt repelled like about by the burden of having that crown. It was a lot to bear. And in that sense it's like Yandru faithful, you don't know if it's a good or bad thing. So to frame this positively, maybe it's for the best because now he can be free and then he can enjoy chess in its purest form without worrying about the losing or the winning. You can just enjoy it without because at least I think I'm definitely not a champion mentality. I can be competitive to a degree, but I don't have the like it's just not my drive. So I think I play chess. I think it's not even so much to win, but you see my aggression. Sometimes you see my desire to win, but it's like a lot is about the appreciation of the beauty and the intellectual beauty of it, which is why I'm always like sexualizing it, like being like, oh, that's super hot, that's so sexy. Because to me, it's like, because like mentally, it's really fucking hot, you know? It's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, it is really, really hot in a way that I can't really describe. Anyway. um, yeah, I'm just like sharing some thoughts with you guys, honestly. Like, I don't know. Uh, yeah, it's yeah, and I was reminded by this quote that I saw on a Brazilian lamp post, and I took a picture of it. I actually like walked backwards to like take a picture. It says nunca foi sorte, sempre foi coragem, which means it was never luck, it was always courage. And then you have to have balls in life. You have to have courage, uh, to capitalize and to like because some things like a lot of things in life they pass and if you're always waiting for the next train, waiting for the next bus, or waiting for the right conditions to materialize, the right person to show up at your doorstep, or everything to fall into your lap, things don't happen. You have to take life by the balls and have the courage to make things happen for you. So fortune favors the bold, favors the brave, and if you're brave enough to go out, then the winning chances will come, like you can make them. uh I think, yeah, and I think I think there it's like the self-esteem and self-confidence play a huge role. And I think, yeah, Gukash working with his mental coach, I mean, they foresaw the need. And I wonder why the Chinese team did not try to do that for Ding, especially when Ding said he had this problem, or I guess felt weaker psychologically. And I don't know if he did. I don't know if they mentioned if he did. And I'm sure he did get help on that in this regard. But you almost feel like this is definitely reflected in his chess. Um, because he kept on underestimating all of his positions. Even in the game where he was completely winning or like positionally already doing much, much better in game 12, his clutch win, his super masterpiece. In that game, it was so funny because he really did not know he had an advantage until he played knight f4. Like, really? Like, by then, like, he was already, like, crushing on the board. But even way before then, he already had a slight edge. And he just didn't realize it. And so, same in this very last game, game 14, he already had a winning advantage at a certain, I mean, maybe not winning, but a definite advantage at a certain point when Gukash made that retreating bishop move. But he wasn't in the mindset of, I have a win, I have an advantage here. He wasn't thinking I'm going to go forward. He was thinking I'm just going to hold or I'm just going to stay constant. And so he's not thinking of the positive sides. And I think that's, yeah, it's hard to, yeah, it's the people who see positive things will have more and more positive things. And it's like a cycle of abundance. I think it just generally happens that way in life. But I mean, again, it was just one, but I don't think it's just one game. I think consistently throughout the match, I think he actually played better chess. He definitely played better chess most of the time. But his psychology, his lack of confidence in himself and his positions constantly did him in, made him not press when he could have pressed, made him just have this retreating strategy, which I don't know who came up with the strategy, but even to an amateur like me, I feel like you have to take it by the balls like right now. Like there is no tiebreak. The problem with waiting for some like hypothetical future event, like a tiebreak or something, is like in life you don't actually always get that next opportunity. You're like always waiting for the like like you just have to take it now. Like if you can win now, win now. Like if you can make the best move now, make it now. Right? You don't always get to execute your plan. I know. I mean, of course, like I mean, trust teaches me patience because I'm someone who's like like always was impatient in the past and like never wanted to wait for things to grow. And like there are a lot of things where you should like let it grow, but you should. There's also a lot of things that like I'm glad that I can opportunistic. Is that a good word here? But yeah, these are just some basic ideas about this. I'm sure like a lot of you guys already have. So it's not like I'm saying the most enlightening things in the world, but I guess I'm just here to share some of my thoughts because we love chess and because I don't know. Honestly, I'm just in this state where I'd rather just reflect and talk than celebrate and feel happy. um and yeah, I briefly read the reflections I wrote after last year's championship. I wrote this whole 3-page essay, which I'm gonna share with you guys. Actually, it's almost a little embarrassing because I don't know if I really hold those beliefs now. Like, it's really just like extemporaneous, like just like thoughts, like right, like on a very sleep deprived mind, like stayed up the whole night watching tie breaks and everything, and you know whatever, but it is mildly interesting. So I might read it even if I don't share the same ideas, or I'll just temper it later. I'll discuss it later, but I'll read it because why not? But yeah, I just want to say to you guys, like, have courage, have courage. There's so many things in life that could work out for you if you had the balls to do it, honestly. Like so many things like you will not believe will just turn out in your favor. There's so many people who want to just sit by and just like think, just no. If you don't like something in life, you can have the agency. I talk about this a lot, but can have the initiative, you can have the agency, you have the control to make your own reality, to visualize the reality you want, and then to take steps to try and get it, or to accept where you are now and to fully maximize it. But whatever it is, there's ways, right? If you're not satisfied, there's ways to make things work for you. Okay, hold on just a bit. I'm sorry if I sound harsh or critical of anybody because you have to understand I adore like I adore him. It's I'm saying this out of love. Like honestly, if you ask me my favorite chess player now, I'd be like Dean Lira, no question. Like I find his honestly like his kindness, his authenticity, and his like how his pureness as a human being is so rare to see in anybody, let alone a chess player. Like it's just completely refreshing, fresh breath of air, a breath of fresh air that like I just hugely admire and respect because he's so honest. Honestly, just like everybody, you don't find a champion, an athlete, or anybody like you know who's like a lot of people are posturing or like always trying to like convey an image, and then you find this person who's just so real, who's so raw with his emotions, who's so honest about everything. It's just completely just insane. I don't know. I okay. Anyway, not to say you fake people out there aren't also worthy, but you know what I mean. Okay. Thoughts after watching the World Chess Championship. And as a reminder, this is last year's World Championship between Nepo and Deung. It's 8:28 a.m. on a Sunday. I've just spent my entire night watching the tie breaks for the 2023 FIDE World Championship. The results left me feeling restless, filled with an energy of some kind. So I went for a walk, thinking about the match, the players, and chess. What can I say? I love both players. I love chess. The match was of an exhilarating sort, unparalleled in anyone's recent memory, and the players put on a good show to say the very least. I cried when Duniran lost Game 7, him unable to make a move until his time nearly ran out. And again when Jan Nepomniachtchi lost Game 12, making a series of reckless moves until he self-destructed in despair on move 35, returning to the board and unable to face himself. The drama of the final moments, Jan when his hand swept across the pieces, tumbling them to the floor, on the brink of his final resignation, and then Dion collapsing from the cascade of emotion that befell him upon his ultimate victory, his face in his hand. You could not picture a more filmic moment, a crux of human emotion that is at the heart of any great contest of will and hearts and mind. That is the game. That is chess. What a brutal game. What insanity. And yet it means so little. Chess champion, really, but as a title. When it comes down to it, these players are so equal, so both deserving and yet flawed. Brilliant, genius, but human. What impressed me most about Dion is that he never wanted to be champion. And so, like many great players, he cares more about the game than the results. What does it come down to, really? What does it take to be a champion? From interviews of the players, from accounts, from my observations, I have to say that it probably is really determined by one's character, one's attitude, desire, and willpower to win. Something about Carlsen struck me. He is always exacting of himself, holding himself to the highest standards. This is where nearly every other player falls short. They can be content with draws, sloppy wins, or lucky finishes. But Carlsen is always on the pursuit of excellence. And that attitude makes a difference. The desire to always be the best you can possibly be, to do the best you can do at each moment of the game, spells out in general a higher quality of play. This is where both Jan and Deung fall short. At many moments, they were content with a certain degree of recklessness, carelessness that made decisions invariably go wrong. On a higher level, this comes down to psychology, one's belief in oneself. From the body language and posture alone of the players, it is clear that neither Nepo nor Deung possess the same confidence and psychological presence of Carlsen. Magnus simply carries himself with a belief in his superiority. And though one could say that his results speak for themselves, attitude really determines a lot. One's internal attitude about oneself and about life determines one's reality. The external reflects the internal. Deung, ever so humble and gentle, lacks confidence in himself. Nepo, on the other hand, could be a case display for some self-destruction of the ego. After the match, I told my friend, Nepo needs to see a therapist. He has to figure out why he doesn't want success. My friend replied, don't be so hard on him. He had a lot of pressure during the games. However, I am by no means being harsh. There's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist. Self-reflection and awareness are key to growth. I am simply stating what I see to be the fact, that ultimately Nepomniachtchi does not want to be champion. Somewhere deep down inside of him is a lack of belief in himself, a low self-esteem, a need to self-sabotage. When he is on the brink of victory, he will force himself out of it, handcuff himself to something less. Perhaps he is more into the chase than the reward. He wants more to feel like he is constantly fighting for something than to actually get it. This is constantly reflected in the match results. Every time Jan gets a win, he quickly returns a favor and loses to even the score. Finally, his ploy got the better of him. Before he could even the tie breaks once more to enter Blitz, he had to lose. And there was no one more. The chase ends here. Also with his performance in the Sinkfield Cup when he was so clearly about to win, then threw it away. I witnessed this in countless people, and very clearly in myself. I have seen a master lose winning games because I think he lacks confidence in himself. At crucial moments, he will self-doubt, and excessive caution compels him to make the inferior but seemingly safer move. Timidity kills in chess and in life. With Jan, what could explain his complete self-destruction in Game 12? There was simply no reason for it. In other games where he had an advantage or close to winning position, he simply ceded to a draw. Why? Where was a push for a win? A fatigue and overconfidence that he could make up for it next time with a comeback win, a certain careless slappiness that settles for less than? What is it? I read several comments during the games that the match was becoming Jan versus Nepo. Kramnik said that it is better to let your opponent lose than to try to win. Here's no better example of that. Ding didn't have to do too much in that game. Nepo simply self-destructed. I'm definitely going to psychologically murky waters here, but to me the picture is clear. At a point in his life, very early in childhood, Jan was made to feel that he wasn't enough. He had to keep trying, keep proving himself, and yet was never worthy. He is incredibly harsh on himself, and watching him criticize himself after he loses explains why he is so prone to tilting, because emotionally he can't handle being less than what he knows he can be. Though I love Dion, his humility, his kindness, his gentle stoicism and calm solidity, and as a chess player, his ultimate cold precision, a calculating machine, I have a soft spot for Nepo. In temperament, I am much closer to him. Jan's emotionality, his tendency for recklessness and impulsiveness, a certain overconfidence in himself and winning positions, therefore spoiling the result. I can see the same characteristics in myself. Where Dion is like ice, Nepo is like fire. Energetically, one is like a slow flowing stream, whereas the other is like dancing sparks of electricity. Maybe in the long run, stable calmness and stoic composure beats wild strokes of brilliancy. How much of this character can be cured? It is a strength and also a curse. He is like one of those ultimate bosses that are extremely difficult to beat, but have one defining weakness, an Achilles heel, and that makes him vulnerable. I have no doubt Jan will continue to play. He loves the chase. Whether or not he will always get the reward, that he will have to dig into himself deeply to find the answer. Of course, it is okay not to get the reward. Success is nothing but a societal mirage, a need for something external that eventually dissipates. But a peace within himself, a coming to terms with his character and psychology, his own hurts and traumas, is perhaps necessary if he is ever going to overcome his need for self-sabotage. I frankly have no idea. With all my emphasis on self-awareness, etc., all I can say is that I am aware of my propensity for self-sabotage and yet can do nothing better about it. Beyond personal psychology, I pondered on the machinations of fate and destiny. In Chinese, there's a term called 天命, literally a light from the heavens or a call of destiny or fate. It may simply not be in Nepomniachtchi's destiny to be the world chess champion. Maybe the heavens does not favor a player from Russia due to the carnage in Ukraine. That perhaps is stretching a bit far. During the commentary, Fabiano Caruana likened Nepo's missed chances to escaping encounters with death. Sooner or later, it will catch up to him. Morbid. Images of great Chinese war heroes came to mind from the Warring Kingdoms period, immense personalities such as Cao Cao, who ultimately did not succeed in their quest for domination. Sometimes it is not written in the stars. Kaisa was not with Nepo in this one. Sad to see, because my heart hurts for him. A final thought from the press conference where both players consistently show their adorable personalities. At the last one, when asked about what he planned to do after the match, Ding responded, "I want to travel." then asked where to. Dion gave one location, then paused for about a minute, trying to think of another one. I laughed to myself here. To Myers-Briggs fans, this was a clear example of the difference between introverted intuition, NI, and extroverted intuition, NE. Where Dion could not imagine another place, I could have rattled off 10 possibilities, NE. Yet not in a million years could I play chess like Dion and I. That is not an exaggeration. I simply don't have the hardware for it. So what can I do? I thought as I walked. Everyone clearly has their own strengths and weaknesses. Ding and Nepo could do so well because they followed, since they were little, what they were naturally good at. They were born to play chess. I, surely, also have my strengths. So why do I want to play chess so bad? Why don't I do what I am naturally good at? What is the lure of chess? The fascination with the logic, the beauty of the combinations, the F yeah moments of amazing moves? I mean, I'm an addict. Perhaps I am also into the challenge, the pursuit of the unattainable. Ding spoke of sayings about climbing mountains, inspiring him to strive to the top of chess. This immediately painted images in my mind of Confucian sayings of excellence and mountain metaphors. I, too, like mountains. I like the climbing and journey of smelling the wildflowers as much as seeing the final view at the top. There is something special about standing higher than where most people do, seeing from a rare perspective. It takes work to get there. I have to put in the work. Something struck me when I was playing chess at local clubs and tournaments. There was a phase when I cared too much and would feel emotional pain after losses. Another phase when I was so zenned out that I didn't care at all and didn't bother with winning. Neither approach worked so well, of course. I asked a youth at our club what his method of dealing with losses was. He smiled, saying, I think of it this way. If even grandmasters blunder, it's not so bad when I do it. That's true. No matter how incredulous it may seem to lose a winning position with a piece up countless times, it does not compare to how heartbreaking it must be for Jan Nepomniachtchi to throw away his victory in Game 12. I then asked him, does he ever want to quit? Because the thought always dejectedly enters my mind when I lose. No, the youngster said again, the only time you lose is when you stop playing. I was greatly impressed by his wise words. Yes, no matter what life throws at us, we have to keep going. Like I said, attitude determines everything. I want to keep going, to keep climbing, to be the best I can be in life. It is not a most of our tianming to play chess, but we have to take each moment, each move, with the fullness of presence it deserves. Oh, hot damn! Did I write that? Did I write that, girlfriend? Ooh, hot damn! Wow, what a college application essay. Woo! Somebody got me into Harvard. What the fuck? What the fuck? That was actually really nice. Minus my kind of maybe uncalled for deep probe into Jan's childhood trauma, which I'm very sorry if someone ever if he somehow ever sees this. I'm sorry in case it's true, but I think I don't know. Intuitively, I wrote it because I just felt these things. I make these assumptions, obviously, but they're assumptions. So I mean, just take it with a grain of salt. These are my own reflections and ponderings, and it's more like a private journal or diary entry than anything. So I'm not trying to be here calling anybody out or telling anybody to go to therapy. Okay, excuse me, I'm sorry, I apologize. But actually, I think that was actually not so bad. It was not so bad. Yeah, and of course, who am I to say this is like a champion? They're not exacting enough, blah blah. But I mean, these are just general thoughts. So it's like, of course, don't listen to me, but these are just my thoughts. But yeah, I think a lot of it still applies to even this one. Like, subconsciously, you feel like if someone wants to be a champion or not. And just like I said, it wasn't in Nepo's Tianmian to be a champion. It wasn't in Dylan's Tianmian to be champion this time either. And a lot of times it's like, what is the phrase in Chinese? It's like, it basically means like humans make a lot of designs, like humans plan a lot. It's not coming to me right now, but the success or failure of those plans is up to heaven, right? Humans make a lot of plans, but if it actually works or not is up to God. So yeah, so in general, there's a lot of things in life, like we just put in our best effort, but sometimes it's really just not meant to be. And but again, you make the most out of it. Like, the more you put in the effort, the more likely it will be what you want it to be. So it kind of goes both ways there. Anyway, that was kind of interesting, and I think that's that. It's actually half an hour. Wow, I really can't talk about a lot of things. Okay, I'll see if I want to upload that other video on my game. But thank you as usual, and yeah, feel free to share your thoughts as well. And I feel actually a lot better now. I was so sad. I literally was so sad the whole day. I even climbed a mountain, like my favorite mountain. I went to climb it, and it almost always makes me feel better. But today it didn't even make me feel better. But now, as I'm sitting here sharing these thoughts with you, I actually feel pretty happy. Like I actually feel now at complete acceptance. I mean, obviously, I'm not that personally involved, right? But yeah, I feel acceptance about both this and other things in my life because I think because I'm talking about like positive mentality and everything, and I feel like yeah, and like I don't need to take every loss or every blunder or whatever setback as like this is now it's a tragedy and now like I lost everything. Like I don't need to see it in that way. I think even just talking about this myself is giving me the courage and the positivity and the faith that things are exactly what it's meant to be and that it will turn out great in my favor and for people in general. It will be exactly what it's meant to be. And I really believe in that. And this quote, which I like really absorbed this year, is that which is real can never be threatened. That which is real can never be threatened. That which is not real does not exist. Herein lies the peace of God. Let's tattoo that on our bodies. But yeah, that which is real can never be threatened. So you never have to feel the pain of the loss because if it was real, it exists and it will always be there. If it's not real, then it's not yours and it does not exist anyway. So why bother? Herein lies the peace of God. Namaste. Bye.